So I've been wanting to tell this story. It's a random story, but I think it was pretty funny. So about a year ago, actually, in October, my girlfriend and we were here at home. My parents weren't home. My parents were out of town, and we didn't really know what to do. So we decided to go to, I believe it was a small little Oktoberfest down in downtown LA. Yeah, it was in Pershing Square, I believe. Well, obviously, me and my girlfriend had a couple of drinks throughout the night, and we ended up taking the train back home, down to the North Hollywood station. So when we get to North Hollywood station, this is where pretty much most of the story takes place. One thing led to another. You know how you end up finding random people that are going your area or your way. We ended up across this girl, looked completely normal, and when I say normal, I don't mean like she was dressed like a hooker at all. So obviously we start conversating, and one thing led to another. I tell her, "Hey, we were telling each other like what way we were going," and I was like, "Yeah, we're heading towards Balboa, the Balboa area, the Lake Balboa." And she was like, "You know what? I'm actually heading down there." And just out of nowhere, she was like, "Is there any way I can ride or catch a ride with you guys?" And I look at my girlfriend, and I was just, I wasn't prepared to like answer that right away or anything. I was just like, okay, cool. Like this innocent girl is just asking for a ride. It's pretty late, and the last thing I wanted was something happening and then finding about it later on and it being in my conscience like, damn, I could have prevented that. So I look at my girlfriend. I'm like, what do you think? I'm giving her that look, like the silent look, and we're having like a silent, no word conversation between us. And at the end, we just looked at each other and we're like, all right, cool. We'll give you a ride. Once we get in the train, she sits right next to us. We just keep having, a little conversation about just random things, right? And next thing you know, the most funniest thing happens. We run into Brian Pumper. And I mean, who doesn't know who Brian Pumper is? Like, if you're ever in the LA area, and especially in the metro, I'm pretty sure you're gonna run into Brian Pumper. So, Brian Pumper is a porn star. And he literally comes to where my girlfriend and I are sitting, and that girl that we're giving a ride to is sitting. And he sits down, and he has the usual look, the wife beater, the jean shorts, baggy jean shorts. He has the faked out iced watch, the iced chain. And of course, he does what everybody says he does. He takes out a cash. He takes out like a stack of nothing but hundreds. And he looks at the girl that we're giving a ride to, and he offers her $100. He starts talking about like, I'm not really, I don't remember exactly what he was saying, but he was just like insisting and insisting about something. And one thing led to another, and the chick just looks at him and says, "You know what? Please leave me alone." And the way she said it, it wasn't like, "Hey, like just stop talking to me." It was like if she were to get in trouble for talking to another man, if that makes any sense. Like if she knew somebody was watching her. So halfway to the North Hollywood station, I look at my girlfriend. I'm like, "Hey, I have to pee. Like I have to pee so bad." And my girlfriend was like, "Just hold it. Like we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there." And then I was like, "No, no, no. Like you don't get it. Like I have to pee. Like we have to get off at the next stop." And the girl who was right next to us, she was just like, "No, no. You can hold it. You can hold it." Like she was like committed to making sure that she was gonna get a ride. And then one thing led to another. I look at her and I'm like, "Hey, whatever you do, if you end up at North Hollywood at whatever time you get to North Hollywood station, just wait for us. I'll meet you by the entrance, but the entrance to the station. And I look at my girlfriend. And I'm like, all right, let's go. And as soon as that next stop hit, me and her get out. We run upstairs, and we ended up finding a local restaurant. And then right away, I went inside. I went to go pee, and then I look at my girlfriend, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's just take a lift back the remaining of the way. And we take a lift. We get back to the station, but it drops us off like a little further away from the entrance. And I look at my girlfriend. And I'm like, I wonder if this girl is actually there waiting for us. We get out the car, and literally from a distance, we see this girl just walking from like left to right, like if she was just like, where are these guys? Where are these guys? And I'm looking at my girlfriend, and I'm like, hey, like, should we just leave her here, or should we give her a ride? And then she was like, I don't know. It's whatever you want to do. So at this moment, we could have easily just said, you know what? Let's just leave. Like, this is not our problem. But obviously, inside of myself, I was just like, you know what? We already said we're going to take her. Let's just give her a ride. We walked towards her, and she was like happy to see us once we got to her. So we go into the car, and obviously I'm the one driving. By this time, I'm already like completely sober. Like, I was good to drive. My girlfriend was right next to me, and this girl sits right behind my. I know. Actually, she sits in the middle. So we take off, and we're heading towards the location that she wanted to get dropped off, which was technically on the way to my house. From one thing to another, we're conversating. She goes into like this deep tone where like she was just like she got sad because I think we were talking about like our age and what we were doing and all that. And I remember asking her like, oh, like, so do you go to school, or like what do you go to school, just little questions like that. And she starts just telling us just right off the bat. She's like, I'm ashamed of what I do. And I was just like, well, what is it? Why? And then that's when she just laid it on us. She was like, I'm a prostitute. And I remember just looking at my girlfriend, and it was just like one of those like bombshells that you're just like, wait, what? And then I'm just like, oh, like, what got you into this? Or, why is it that you're in it? And her story was just such an eye-opener within, I guess you can kind of say it, like within that job area. The things she was saying to us, it was just jaw-dropping. It's not so much of like, what she had to do. It was how much trust she had in her quote-unquote pimp. You get me? So she starts telling us that he just can't believe that he treats her that this way, that way, but that she has faith that the person will change. And I mean, to myself, obviously, when you're outside the box looking in, you're like, hey, like, this guy is not gonna change. He treats you a certain way for a reason. Like, you are to him just property. In simple terms that I can describe it. And then she starts telling us about the experiences she had, and I'm gonna just tell you guys this in simple terms. So she says that obviously she has sex with people, and that she was having unprotected sex. So that she knew that at some point she was gonna catch something. So one thing leads to another. She starts telling us about how she went to get tested. She knows she has a certain, what can you say, like a certain STD type of thing. but that she can't do anything about it. I mean, she can try going to like a clinic or whatever, but that when it comes to actually do her job, obviously she can't tell the people that she's gonna have sex with because they won't pay her, obviously, or they won't want to have sex with her. And she started telling us about that she doesn't really know the amount of people she's given STD, this specific STD to, and that she is just a little bit of shame as to. I can't really even explain it. Like she knew like what she was doing was wrong, but it was her way of survival. And then I just kept telling her like, why can't you just leave this? Like me trying to be like the like the good guy that anybody else would tell her. And she was just telling us about how it was just her way of survival. Like it was just her way of survival. That's all she knew, and that's all she could do. So while she's telling us this, she's obviously in like a really sad tone. Me and my girlfriend and try to like cheer her up and everything. But she starts reaching and like messing around with her purse. And when she started to do that, I started looking at her through my rear mirror, and I'm just looking at her and I'm looking at her, and obviously the fear of having a complete stranger in your car. But at some point, I swear on anything, and even my girlfriend, when like after this whole happened, I swear I thought she was gonna reach for like a gun, some sort of weapon, like a little pocket knife, a little mini gun, a little mini handheld gun. I don't know, but then as soon as we get to her destination, she takes out some money, and then she was like, "Hey, thank you so much for the ride. Let me pay you." And right away, I mean, knowing the fact that she was a prostitute, when she told us she was a prostitute, I right away my instinct was like, if I accept any form of payment in any way, that would consider me soliciting or whatever the word is for sex. So as long as there was no cash exchange or anything like that, and I mean, no matter what, nothing was gonna happen to me or to my girlfriend. So I look at her and I'm like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. I was like, just put that money to good use. I'm like, get yourself something to eat, get yourself something to drink or whatever. She goes and she gets out the car, and we had literally just dropped her off. If anybody lives in the Lake Balboa area, where Beeps, that place that serves breakfast, we park around the corner right in front of the I think it was the gas station. And she gets off the car, she says thank you, and in less than 5 seconds she disappears. Like we have no idea where she went. Like it was complete darkness, and I remember just like busting the U-turn and like trying to see like where she went, and she had like completely disappeared into the night. Like this girl had just like right away had taken off. And I look at my girlfriend, and I like for a moment, like we gathered our thoughts, we got out of there right away, and I look at her and I'm like, what if we just ended up giving her a ride to like her next stop, like if she was just gonna meet someone else for her little prostitution thing. We take off, we're heading home, and like the tone in our voices was like cracking. Like we were in shock about her story, about how many lives she's quote unquote affected, in such a sad way. And that yes, they're human beings, and then in this world everybody's just trying to do something to get on through with life and just to make it. One of the main things we were like just talking on the way home was I look at my girlfriend and I'm like, hey, like, did you have like this feeling like she was gonna like about like kill us or anything like that? And she was like, you know what? I had that feeling too. Like I feel like she was either gonna like choke us, stab us, or anything. And I just remember, looking at my girlfriend. I'm like, never again, never again are we giving a right to a stranger. Um, I know. Many people are gonna be hearing this and they're gonna be like, well, obviously, you dumbasses, or something. But at the same time, I'm glad we got to hear someone's story like this. And ever since she told us this story, like I said, like I've been wanting to share it. I've been wanting people to know, you know, that there are a lot of people out there suffering. They're just trying to get through the day and do anything possible. And yeah, that's my story. Hope you guys liked it. Let me know if it was interesting. Let me know if let me just drop any comments you wish to drop down in the comment section, and maybe I'll set up some sort of like email where if anybody wants to just send me a story they want people to know or people to hear, obviously anonymously. Um, I think this is what this channel is going to be about. It's just short. I mean, to share different stories, whether it's funny, whether it's dramatic. I mean, being the fact that this is the month of October, I really wish I had a couple of ghost stories to tell. Or if anybody out there has a ghost story, feel free to email me. Like I said, I'm gonna set up an email account so that if anybody wants to email me their stories or anything, I'll read them out loud, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Thank you so much. Have a good night.